Hey there, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our weekly office hours. My name is George Soto, one of the co-founders here at AssetMule, joined by my co-founder and CEO, Justin Dorfman. And today we are going to dive into one of my favorite topics. And of course, I think probably everyone's favorite topic these days, and that's AI. And we're going to dig into how to create sales assets in minutes using, drumroll, AssetMule's AI Copilot. If you do have any questions, let us know. Go ahead and comment. You're probably watching this on LinkedIn or on YouTube. You should see the comments area, I think on your right-hand side, probably. And so go ahead and add comments, questions, feedback, anything that you have there that is top of mind. And we'll either get to it at the end of our session here today, or if it's super urgent, just let us know. Be like, hey, real quick, I got to run. Can you answer this question? And we'll get to it right away. So buckle up, and Justin, take it away.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fun one today. We're going to be showing a new feature in AssetMule, which is our AI Copilot Maverick, and how you can use it to populate your snippet library in AssetMule, which really helps you speed up the process of creating new sales assets, but also helps enable your sales team to personalize assets for each of their prospects while staying on brand and on message. And for those that aren't familiar with AssetMule and the concept of snippets, so snippets have been, since we started, I think, a core part of our product and one of the most popular features in AssetMule. And at a very, very high level, what they are blocks of content that you can save in a library. So think your value statements, your benefit statements, your feature descriptions, but not just text, your product images, your videos, product videos, your customer quotes, right? And basically populating your snippet library with all this content allows you to build sales assets much more quickly, because now you can pull from this existing library, right? You know, as you're building new sales assets, obviously you'll be adding new content. Maybe you're launching a new feature and you need to describe that feature, or you need to add a new demo video. But a lot of the logo strings, a lot of the customer quotes, a lot of the content that's going to be on that page is going to be reusable content, or content that you've used in the past, right? And that's really where snippets come into play. But also, as I mentioned, as your sales team then wants to send out those assets and maybe personalize different bits of the asset so that it resonates with their buyer, giving them access to this snippet library allows them to do that while also protecting the messaging of the content. So snippets, as I mentioned, have always been one of the most popular features, but one of the biggest challenges has been populating that snippet library, right? Up until just this past week, our customers would have to go in there, upload all their images, add all their quotes, add all their value statements and so on manually. And it could take, hours of investment to do that. Obviously, the payout in the end would be the ability to build these assets very quickly, but it is an upfront investment in time to get that snippet library populated. That's until this week, when we released this new feature where now you can actually give Maverick, our AI Copilot, a website URL, for instance, your homepage URL, and Maverick can actually grab all those elements from the page, right? Your images and your quotes and everything, and give it to you to review and approve, and then save into your account, and essentially populating your snippet library in a matter of seconds, really. So this is a really exciting new feature, and one that we'll dive into today. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually show you Maverick in action. So I'm going to run Maverick against our webpage, our homepage, show you all the content that it's able to grab, save it into my snippet library, and then I'll demonstrate how you can then use those snippets to build a one-pager in minutes. So I'm going to show you, actually, I'm going to build a one-pager in minutes, and then also how the sales side can then use that snippet library to then do those last mile personalization steps of personalization before sending them to a prospect. So let me share my screen and we'll dive right in here. All right, so now we're in AssetMule. And for those, again, who are new to AssetMule, taking a step back, what we allow our customers to do is to create personalized, interactive, and trackable sales assets in minutes, right? And there's a couple different ways you can do this. One is from our template library. So you'll see we have a template library of one-pagers and case studies and competitive pages and sales decks and proposals, really any asset that you can think of. And this is a constantly growing library that you can use. You can create a asset from these and then populate it with your brand colors and fonts, what we call a theme in AssetMule, and then with your contents. And in a matter of minutes, have a ready-to-use asset that your sales team can send out there to their prospects. These are interactive in the sense that there can be videos, there can be interactive demos, there can be calendar scheduling widgets built into the pages to drive engagement and conversions. And then finally, I'll show you an example of this, but as your sales team is sending these, they can track and you can track the engagement that's happening on those pages. But as I mentioned, a key part of this process is this concept of a snippet library and having this library of blocks of content that you can use to quickly spin up these pages. And up until recently, the way that you would populate your snippet library is by choosing the type of snippet that you want to add. Let's give an example of a quote, right? A customer quote, and actually writing out the quote, like, let's do an example, this product is awesome, right? Giving the name, Jane Smith, and a title, CEO at ABC Co. Maybe uploading her image, giving this a name, customer quote number 1, and saving it to your library, right? And again, that is great, right? Now, but it's an investment in time to get all your quotes. If you have dozens of quotes and dozens of product images and all this messaging, getting that populated up front takes time. So that's why we released our new feature where now with Maverick, and this is Maverick over here, our AI Copilot, you can actually gather logos, images, customer logos, quotes, value statements, benefit statements, feature descriptions, and differentiators from your website in just a single click. And in the future, we're going to expand this further to include stats that you might have on your site or videos that you might have, product videos and customer testimonial videos and those sort of things. Interactive demos. So if you're using Storylane or Novatic or any of these, Howdy Go, Walnut, any of these great interactive demo products, we'll be able to pull those as well in the future and have you save them to your snippet library. And then beyond being able to do this from a URL, in the near future, we'll also be able to do this from PDFs. So you can upload a one-pager or a deck. And again, Maverick will grab all those snippets for you to review, approve, and save. But for today, let's see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and add in our website URL here, AssetMule.ai, and click Generate Snippets. And what Maverick is now doing is Maverick's going to our website, fetching all that content for me to review and approve and save into my snippet library. And if I hop over to AssetMule.ai, just to show you what Maverick is gathering, things like this value statement that you see over here, or this customer logo grid, the different feature descriptions that you see here and the corresponding product images, right? And even down here, things like these customer quotes, right? That's the type of stuff that Maverick's going to gather for me to take a look at. So let me hop back over to AssetMule and see what Maverick has found. And as you'll see, Maverick has found all that stuff, right? So we've got 3 quotes that Maverick found. We've got those product images. We've got the value statements, the benefit statements, the feature descriptions, the logos, and so on. And now I can go through here, and if I don't want to include save any of it, I can uncheck it. But in this case, let's say I want to keep everything that Maverick found for us. I can go ahead and save this to my snippet library. And now you'll see here, it's ready for me to use. So now let's see how we use these snippets to, again, the 2 use cases here, speed up the process of creating new sales asset templates, and then allow our sales team to swap in and out maybe alternative bits of content to personalize, but with pre-approved content. So I'm going to head over to the templates section. And let's say I want to build a one pager, right? So I'm going to choose this one pager template that we have here, and I'm going to go ahead and copy this. And in this case, it's already using my brand colors and fonts because I've set up my theme. What you can do is actually set up your theme just by putting in your website URL. Let's say I'm HubSpot, right? I'm HubSpot.com in here, click create theme. And now I have my, HubSpot on brand one pager for me to use. If I want to make any adjustments to this theme, I can do that in the theme section. But going back to the demo for AssetMule here, let's say I want to build this out now, and let's see how quick I can do that with the snippet library. So, obviously I could go in here and I could upload my logos and I could add, put in my text and I can upload my images. But again, now we have this snippet library that we can pull from. So what I'm going to do is in each section, I'm going to go to the corresponding what we call component settings. So this particular component here within this section is what we call the personalized logo component. It's represented by the heart here. And by clicking that, now I get to the personalized logos settings where I can do all kinds of things. But one thing I can do is access my my snippet library. And you'll see I've got my Maverick found that sort of logo for us, our brand logo. So I can just pull that in now. Maybe I want to make this a little smaller, so I can just click on it and adjust the size. And I'm going to just continue going down. So now I want to add a value statement here. Again, I could write it in if I wanted, but I can also go to the paragraph component settings, and I've got a bunch of snippets that Maverick pulled in here for me. So I'm going to use this one here, and I just click on it to pull it in, right? Now the image, again, I could upload the image, but Maverick found a bunch of images for me. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one over here and just pull that in, and just continue going down this template here. I'm going to remove that, and trusted by, pull in my logos that Maverick found. Let's do what you can do with AssetMule, just updating this placeholder copy here. And then now we've got the feature descriptions, right? So I'm going to go in here and say build sales assets from templates and get an image that shows that. Add an image here. Let's do the personalization feature. So that's the snippets, and pull the personalization text that Maverick found. Let's do the tracking, identify, get intent signals and so on. So now I've added all those feature highlights, and then let's see if there's anything here that I want to use. Let's do some of these. So no design resources needed. These are the differentiators, what makes AssetMule different, right? So no design resources needed. What else? Let's say snippet library for personalization, and let's do one more differentiator. Let's say trackable buyer engagement, right? Those are some of our differentiators. So I can do some cool stuff here too, where I can, in the section settings, I can add an icon and center this. I'm going to do that for all three of these. And then let's do one more here, center it, and let's choose some cool icons that match these a little bit. I'm going to make a little space below this just so that they're in line. So no design resources. And actually, I'll use the same one. I'll do like a check for each one of these, just for the sake of the demo today. And then, oops, let's, I guess we need to move this up a little. There we go. And this too. Cool. And then now the final thing that we have here is the quotes. So again, Maverick found me some quotes, and I can just pull in one here. And just like that, I think, that took less than 5 minutes. I now have a one pager ready to go for my sales team to use on brand, on message, with all our images and our logos and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and save this in my account. I'm going to call this AssetMule one pager, and I'm going to go ahead and save it. And now when I go back to the templates page, by default, we're on the AssetMule tab, which has all those templates that we can use. But I'm going to now filter by the team tab. And this is what the sales team is going to see when they log in, right? They're going to see the templates that you've created for them, the one pagers, the case studies, and all ready for them to use, do a little bit of personalization, send out, and then start tracking engagement with. So now let's switch gears and say I'm the salesperson. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go ahead and choose to create an asset from this template that we just created, let's say my product marketer created for me. And now I'm going to do that last mile personalization. So maybe I'm sending this to HubSpot, right? I'm going to go ahead and put HubSpot's URL in here and get their logo, choose one that's a good fit. Maybe I want to keep most of the rest of the stuff the same, right? But maybe I want to use a different quote. Maybe this is a quote from a product marketer, and I'm going to be sending this one pager to a salesperson. So I can, again, go to that snippet library, and I can see here we've got a strategic client partner quote, more sales focused, and I can just swap it in to personalize, but with that pre-approved content. So that's the other way that we can use snippets here. And now when I'm ready, I can go ahead and save this asset, and it's ready for me to send to my buyer, my prospect. And before I send it, maybe I want to do a quick preview without triggering the tracking. So I click the preview button and just scroll through, make sure everything looks good and ready to go. And it looks good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and now share this. And I have a couple different options. I can share it as a link. I can share it as a link in a screenshot, or the link in animated screenshot is a real popular choice here. Really drives engagement, and you'll see why. So just click on that to grab it, head over to my email where I'm going to be sending this to my prospect, and just paste that in. And you'll see it's this nice, beautiful scroll through sort of GIF, right? That's really going to capture their attention. They can see their logo in there. They can see some of the contents, and now they can click through and check out the page. And this is what the live page is going to look like, right? It's a live web-based asset, right? And they can view it, check out all the content that I put in there for them to check out. And then finally, if they're ready, they can go ahead and book a meeting with me. You'll see that when we set up our AssetMule account, we set it up with, our booking link, and now they can access, in this case, Calendly to book with me. But everything, what's really great about this is everything is tracked by AssetMule. So now in the salesperson's inbox, they're going to receive an email here where they'll see that AssetMule one pager, was viewed. And when they click through here, they can see now what the person did on the page. They viewed the assets. They also clicked the book a meeting button. Maybe they booked the meeting, maybe they didn't. And you could see that there was that intent there. So it's a good opportunity to follow up. But again, both the product marketer and the salesperson can now get these deep insights into what's happening on that live page, how buyers are engaging, and so on. But again, just to recap what we walked through today is we literally built a web-based sales asset, trackable sales asset, personalized sales asset with no designers, no developers, in minutes, right? And we did that by populating our snippet library with all of our great content from our website, right? And just doing that by entering a website URL and having AssetMule's Copilot Maverick go out there and find all those snippets for us to review and approve and save into our account, right? And then using those snippets, we then went to the AssetMule template library, chose a template that we wanted to use, and started populating that template with the content from our website. We then saved that to our template library, and then our sales team was able to go in there and actually create an asset, a live asset from that, do that last mile personalization of adding the prospect's logo, swapping in a different quote from the snippet library. And then they were able to share that out there through a URL and a GIF, driving interest from the buyer to the page and an engagement on the page, which we were then able to track in our analytics. So all that in just a matter of minutes here. So that's the walkthrough today, and that's sort of the new feature with Maverick. I'm going to pause here now for questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So we have a question from Kofo. I hope I apologize if I mispronounced. Do you have any automations or CRM integrations?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we have some automations, as you saw with Maverick grabbing content from the website. But I think what you're talking about, and maybe you can correct me if I'm mistaken, but we've heard this feature request a couple of times, and it's something that we want to do in the near future, is be able to use dynamic variables, right? So you saw how the salesperson in this demo, right, swapped in the logo for the prospect, right, by putting in their URL, and then added, there may be, for instance, an area where some of the text might mention the prospect's company name, right? Or their personal name, right? Their actual first name. And today, as you saw, the salesperson would have to go in there and type that in. But in the future, we do plan to add dynamic variables that you could place in these locations and then automate populating those areas. And with the question on the CRM integration, again, it's not something that we have yet today, but it's something that we plan to do in the near future. We could take that a step further, as I'm sure you're alluding to, where straight from a contact profile or a company profile in the CRM, we could spin up an asset. Or I could imagine a world where you could grab an account list of 50 accounts, right? And spin up individual pages for each one of those accounts, automatically pulling in their logo and their company name and things like that. So again, to answer the question, not yet today, but stay tuned, watch this space. This is definitely the direction we're going with this.
Yeah, and if you do have any feedback, we'd love to hear what you have in mind when you say automations or CRM and integrations, and what kinds of CRMs. Is it HubSpot, Salesforce, something else? Would love to hear those as well. Thank you so much, Kofo, for your question. Awesome, folks. And if you do have any other questions, we still got a couple minutes here to dig in and go through what we discussed today, or if it's something outside of today's topic, you have us live and direct here. So don't be shy. Do dig in and let us know how we can be helpful. Justin, I am so excited about this, right? Like the way we've approached AI and how it's been very, very focused on solving the very particular nuances of the way our product works, right? And that just gets me so excited. I was using it earlier, and it was so cool. And we were walking through a use case for someone earlier, and they just right away they saw the light bulb kind of go on. And when we start to think about ingesting other types of content to do this, right now we're doing it via a URL, which, if you think about it, folks, your website, and Justin, you've told me this multiple times as a product marketer, your website really should reflect the most up-to-date messaging, right? And images and etc. That your organization is leveraging at that moment. So that's why we really wanted to start there. And but of course the future is bright, and there's so many possibilities.
Yeah. And just to your point on how we've approached AI, I've tried a bunch of AI tools out there specifically around content generation, and there are definitely some awesome ones out there. Don't get me wrong. And I'm a big believer that this is the future, right? Like we all know, I think we've all seen the use cases where you're like, oh my gosh, like I can see how that's going to take my productivity to the next level, right? But I've also seen a lot of products that just demo really well and in practice don't work very well. And what I mean by that is there's some, products out there where it's kind of like create an asset with a click of a button, or create a piece of content with a click of the button. And again, it demos really well if you're showing it to, let's say, an investor that doesn't know the company that you're putting in there, and like their messaging and the imagery, like you see this thing that looks right? But if you're the product marketer sitting on the other side and you see the content that it generated, you may realize, it's not really on point, right? Like I need to, it created it in a second, and maybe, it created a nice structure of a template, but I have to go in there now and I have to update all the content and so on, and like rewrite everything, right? Because it's not accurate, right? What we try to do is take a little bit of a different approach where, we saw a feature that was extremely valuable for our customers, this snippet concept, right? Having these snippets, these pre-approved from the website, right? Exact, match bits of content populated in a library, and what that means for a product marketer to be able to quickly create new assets, and for salespeople to be able to personalize, but while staying on message, right? And we saw the value that our customers were getting out of it, but we also saw some friction in that process, right? That process of getting everything into your account and populating that snippet library. And for us, we thought that was a really good use case for AI, right? Like, actually, to even go further, what we saw was the way that our customers were populating that snippet library was they were going to the website, right? And they were like manually copying and pasting text from the website to AssetMule, the image, download the image, upload the image, right? Like just back and forth, back and forth. And we thought, you know what? This is a use case where AI could really add value. And again, we don't have to like, produce a fully baked one pager that like, is on point. Instead, we can take these elements that we know because they're on your website, right? The marketer has said, this is the quote, that we want our customers to see. These are the images. These are the ways that we want to describe our product, and pull those in for you then to decide, okay, like where do I place them, right? In the future, as AI gets better, I think there will be opportunities to like create assets, at the click of a button. There may still need to be some refinement in there in terms of like updating, a logo, or like, clarifying a value statement and this and that. But in the meantime, we thought this was just a really good first step, let's say, into AI, seeing this workflow that our customers were taking, the heavy lifting that they were experiencing, and trying to take away that heavy lifting, right, so that they could get to value much faster. But again, as George said, we're only scratching the surface here, right? As we think about this, we're thinking about different inputs, not just URLs, but decks and one pagers and, any PDFs, right? Any type of asset you can imagine, just uploading that and being able to populate the snippet library that way. And then in the future, I even see a world where, we can do some auto tagging of those snippets, right? And you could be able to start like defining, oh, this quote is for this persona or this industry or this use case in a more automated way. And then to Kofo's point here, automating the assembly of these assets. Can you imagine a world where a salesperson is able to say, I want to use our one-pager template for a company in this industry and of this particular persona, and that is, looking to use our product for this use case or solve this problem, and AssetMule being able to take the template, the snippets, and the tags that those snippets have, the metadata, and be able to string these things together. Again, in all cases, I do think a human element of approving, updating things where it didn't quite get it right is super important. But you can start to see the stepping stones, right, that we're taking towards this bigger vision of being able to build these personalized assets for each account or each prospect on the fly in minutes, using AI. It's going to be really, really exciting to see how this evolves in the next year or so.
Awesome. Well, folks out there, again, if you do have any questions, comments, we got about 2 minutes left here. This is the time to dig in and ask any question that you have, even if it's not AssetMule. Maybe what's our favorite color, maybe our favorite song of the day. I don't know. I haven't been listening to music.
Christmas music these days, right?
You know what? I need to listen to some freaking Christmas music, because I love Christmas music.
Me too.
It's so great, and it reminds me of so many amazing moments. It's sort of
it brings you back. So
yeah, it brings
maybe
you back
that's your as you're working this afternoon, put on those tunes in the background,
yeah,
spread some cheer.
For sure. We got the little blow up Santas and
on the front.
Christmas, yeah. So I'm gonna you know what, I'm gonna turn that on, because it uses air, right, to fill up, and then I turn it off to save some energy. But maybe that's another thing we can do. We can do like solar powered Christmas, whatever those things are called. That might be cool. Well, folks, again, this is the moment to ask us questions. Maybe it's strategy, right? It doesn't have to be specific to what we are showing here. If you do have any questions, comments, feedback, want some insights, Justin and I have been doing marketing and sales and what we call go-to-market here these days for a long, long time. And we love to meet with folks. We love to share some of our ideas and experience. We don't know everything, right? But we do love to share what we do find over not only just now, but what we have found over the last 2 decades of doing this fun stuff here. So this is the time, and we're super thrilled to help anybody else in need. Okay, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you so much to everyone for joining us today. If you're new to AssetMule and was looking to learn more, thank you so much for that. If you're an existing customer or user, we very much appreciate that. And if you're curious on what the product is like, go ahead and check it out. It's totally free to sign up. You can go to AssetMule.ai. You don't need a credit card or anything like that. You can even use your Gmail, right, to authenticate and get going within seconds. And if you're an existing customer, again, thank you. If you love the content, we do these office hours every week. There may be some exceptions over the holidays here coming up, but otherwise we are always going live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 11 Pacific. And we dig into these topics and engage with y'all and have some fun, hopefully. If you like our content, go ahead and click on the subscribe button here on YouTube or on LinkedIn. Follow us, either our company handles or us individually. We spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, maybe more than we should. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if that's true. LinkedIn's a pretty good place to be these days. But yeah, let us know how we can be better, how we can share stuff that might be more valuable to y'all. We have a newsletter called the Product Marketing Digest that we post content that we find primarily on LinkedIn, and we want to share with product marketers mostly out there, hence the name, but also jobs. So if you're looking for a new gig, do let us know, because we talk to folks all the time. We have that newsletter that I mentioned, and so we post some of the nice jobs that we find out there in the ecosystem, as in addition to like some great podcast content and so on. So we'll go ahead and wrap up. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Have a happy holidays. Enjoy, and talk to y'all soon.